More iCarly.
Awesome!
On Nick. Coming up on Nick, it's iCarly. Now here's more iCarly. Up next, it's more iCarly.
Yes!
On Nick. Coming up on Nick, it's the Fairly Odd Parents. Now here's more iCarly. Up next, it's the Fairly Odd Parents. On Nick. Up next, it's the Fairly Odd Parents. On Nick. Up next, it's Brain Search. On Nick. Up next, more iCarly. On Nick. Now here's more iCarly. On Nick. Coming up on Nick, it's Glenn Martin DDS. Now here's more iCarly. Coming up on Nick, it's iCarly. Now here's more Back at the Barnyard. Up next, it's iCarly. On Nick. Up next, it's more Brain Search. On Nick. Coming up on Nick, it's Brain Search. Now here's more Brain Search. Coming up on Nick, it's SpongeBob. Now here's more Brain Search. Up next, more Brain Search.
Let's go!
On Nick. Coming up on Nick, it's SpongeBob. Now here's more Brain Search. Now here's more Brain Search. On Nick. Up next, it's more Penguins of Madagascar. On Nick. Coming up on Nick, it's SpongeBob. Now here's more Penguins of Madagascar. Up next, it's SpongeBob. On Nick. Up next, it's more Back at the Barnyard. On Nick. Coming up on Nick, it's iCarly. Now here's more Back at the Barnyard. You're watching Big Time Rush. We'll be right back. Up next, Big Time Rush. On Nick. Friday. Don't miss a brand new Big Time Rush. Friday night at 8 on Nick. We'll be right back. You're watching Big Time Rush on Nick. Now back to the show. Up next, more SpongeBob SquarePants on Nick.
Fantastic.
Now here's more SpongeBob SquarePants on Nick. Up next, it's Malcolm in the Middle on Nick at Night. Up next, it's more SpongeBob.
You don't want to miss this.
On Nick. Up next, it's more SpongeBob on Nick. Up next, it's more SpongeBob.
I will be there.
On Nick. Coming up, it's Fanboy and Chum Chum. Now here's more Fanboy and Chum Chum on Nick. Coming up, it's iCarly. Now here's more Fanboy and Chum Chum on Nick. Up next, more True Jackson VP on Nick. Now here's more True Jackson VP on Nick. Up next, it's more True Jackson VP.
Hooray!
On Nick. Coming up on Nick, it's the Troop. Now here's more True Jackson VP. Up next, more of the Troop. On Nick. Now here's more of the Troop. On Nick. Up next, it's more of the Troop. On Nick. Coming up on Nick, it's Everybody Hates Chris. Now here's more of the Troop. Coming up on Nick, it's SpongeBob. Now here's more of the Troop. Coming up on Nick, it's the Troop. Now here's more of the Troop. Up next, more Victorious. On Nick. Coming up, another Victorious. Now here's more Victorious. On Nick. Coming up on Nick, it's SpongeBob. Now here's more Cat Dog. Up next, it's Rugrats.
I admit it. I'm the one who...
On Nick.
I'm trying.
Up next, it's more Mighty B. On Nick. Up next, it's the Mighty B. On Nick. Up next, it's the Mighty B. On Nick. Coming up on Nick, it's iCarly. Now here's more Rugrats. Up next, it's Cat Dog. On Nick. Coming up, it's SpongeBob. Now here's more Fairly Odd Parents. On Nick. Up next, Tough Puppy. Let's do this! On Nick. Up next, Planet Sheen.
Follow me.
On Nick. Up next, it's Danny Phantom. On Nick. Coming up on Nick, it's SpongeBob. Now here's more Mighty P. Coming up, it's the Fairly Odd Parents. Now here's more Fairly Odd Parents. On Nick. Coming up on Nick, it's Glenn Martin DDS. Now here's more SpongeBob. Coming up on Nick, it's SpongeBob. Now here's more iCarly.